Okay, this is part two of the St. Joseph Cemetery. This is the inside of the cemetery, part two, built in the 8. Here is the back side of the gate, which is actually pretty cool looking. I mean, I love the architecture of it. Very cool. So, and then of course, you have the stone wall that goes all the way down. And then here's one section of the cemetery. And then we go back around and the wall continues. So this is Johnstown, Pennsylvania, if you didn't see part one. Now, what's so interesting about this is, since it was built in 1838, they have old graves and even newer graves from the 20s. I think I even seen some from the 80s in here. But what is so cool is, here's an old one here, but what is so cool is there's no organization here. They put these very old tombstones here, okay, besides much newer ones, and you'll see through the video. And there's a very nice one, very kind of ornate. So we're going to walk through here a little bit and show you some of these really old ones here. And also, there are a lot of veterans buried out here. You can still see the flags up from a lot of the veterans. So if you've seen my other videos, I made some new discoveries. On my Revolutionary War video, I found these are 1873, 1875. These two right here. On my Revolutionary War video, I found most of the tombstones there had these clasped hands together. And then the clasped hands, I thought that was like some kind of family crest or something. But I found out it's not. It actually has several meanings to it. One meaning is where the husband is grabbing the wife's hand, because you'll see it a lot with husband and wife. Actually, they have some of these clasped hand emblems on the gravestones out here. That's 1830, it looks like. I'm sorry, 1890. Some very old tombstones here. So, on the clasped hands, I found out that, again, has different meanings. So it could be, one meaning is where God is accepting the person into heaven, and it's God's hand with the person who died. And another meaning is where the husband is accepting the wife, because usually the men die first. Obviously, everybody knows that. So it has that meaning too. This is really cool. So some of these are very, very old, and I found some of these too are written in Italian, some in Polish, some in French. So you had a mixture of people buried out here who belonged to the church, and maybe the church, had different churches took over. I don't know, but so to get back to the clasped hands. So also, I found out that the clasped hands, where you had another meaning too, if the collars on the clasped hands. As soon as I find the clasped hands, I'll show you. Most of these are from the late 1800s and the 1920s and 30s, and some in the 40s. But what's, again, like I said, what's so weird about this, it seems like there's no organization here. Because you got old and new mixed. Okay, so for example, this is this person died in 1906, and then here's 1930s. It looks like some of these have been, the last time I came out here, some of these actually been knocked down or fallen over. I know I found some stones out here, headstones with the clasped hands. Okay, so I'll find one sooner or later. I just don't remember. It's a pretty big place, pretty big area, as you can see. I mean, it goes on and on. So like this one, you can't even read this one, but I just love the ornate ones and the older ones. So like I said, you know, here's from the 40s. Here's a lot of veterans are out here also, of course. This is Johnstown, Pennsylvania, folks. So early 1900s. So a lot of people fought in many wars out here. There's many, many veteran cemeteries out here. They're everywhere. So here's one from, yeah, if you can see it, that says 1983. How's that possible? They were pretty old. And this one's interesting. Just one giant slab. It's huge. Look how thick it is. That's got to be like 3 feet thick. I think you saw the front of this when I first walked out here. 1929, Foster. Husband and wife, looks like it's buried here. Beautiful stone though. And then you get these little stones here. You know, I don't know if that F stands for Foster or the person that are buried at the big stones. I don't know. But it's pretty amazing, even in the early days, you know. Here's one that's, you know, not so expensive as you can tell, but, you know, done right, done good. Even they were able to do these stones back in those days, you know. So I still haven't found a clasped hand stone out here, but they are out here. Here's like I said, some of these are written in Italian, some are in French, some are in languages I don't, Polish, because there's a huge Polish community out here and German community. Well, you know, at least there were when Johnstown was first being built up, 1925. And then, you know, like I said, then they have these newer ones. It just seems kind of strange that there's no real organization out here, it seems like, because they just had so many of them just all over the place, years wise. And I think the oldest one I found out here, I don't know if I'll have to do a part 3 on this, folks, because this place is pretty big. I think the oldest grave marker I found was 1810 or 1809, something like that. Not 100% sure. There's a pretty ornate one right here. I'm trying to make my video a little bit more steadier and not move around so fast. So I'm walking slower than I usually do. But they have some nice ornate ones out here. And like I said, pretty old ones. So these are pretty cool. 1904. I mean, that takes skill, you know. I don't know if people are gonna do these same carvings like that nowadays. Probably a machine does it. I mean, hand-wise though, I don't think anybody's able to cut stones like this by hand anymore. Ah, here we go. Okay, so here's the hand clasp right here. Okay, so in my Revolutionary War video, if you watch that, almost all the markers there had some sort of hand clasp. And this guy died, it looks like 1880, but it's worn out. Okay, so now what the difference is, like I said, it could be that God is taking the person's hand as they come into heaven. Another version is the husband is taking the wife's hand as she enters into heaven, and it has different meanings. So it depends on how high the hands are. They're on an angle. The collars on the arm. They all have different meanings, folks, and I don't know all the meanings. And also, I saw this emblem too at the Revolutionary War and other places. So this was a common, I guess a common practice, and I thought it was a family crest or something like that. That shows you how much I know. But some really old ones out here. Oh, I have to show you this one. I remember this one. This one's really cool. Oh, here's a cool one too. And I'm supposing it looks like a book. You can't really tell. I'm supposing to each region had their own stone cutters and stuff, and they had their own styles, you know, so maybe every region had their own styles, and you know, people copied it, or you know, they had maybe one or two stone cutters out here who were able to make these. Now look at this. This is really cool looking. Made to look like a log, and this IHS is very popular over in Italy. Forgot what it actually means, sorry. So this person died in 1916, the wife did, Agatha. Her husband died in 1898, it looks like. Really cool, really ornate. You know, they had skills back then. Look at this. Look at the leaves on the vine. And it held out all these years. These couple of hundred years, you know. And then here's other kind. It's shaped like a log. So here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, I've seen quite a few different type of stones that are shaped like logs. And it's got some leaves on it. Of course, the name are worn out. The information is worn out. So it's, oh, here's the other side of. Very, very ornate, very well crafted. So, like I said, here's some older ones, very old ones out here. Can't show them all. I'll be out here for days and days. Beautiful headstones. So like I said, what surprises me though is I found so many. I mean, it's not that unorganized. I found like here, like you'll see like a much newer one here. I mean, you know, obviously this isn't that old. This is probably done in the 80s or the 70s. There's no date on it really. But, you know, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like, you know, you got a bunch of them out here from the 1800s, and then there's a bunch of them thrown in from the 1920s, and then you'll find one from the 1980s, 1990s even. So this is another cross going through what is that noise? The crows are out here. They're yelling at me, I think. Anyway, you got so you see a lot of these emblems too. Yeah, crows. I don't know what that building is. So then this section here, much newer, but then still from the early 1900s. So I guess it does have some rhyme. I'm not even going to walk through this. There's a couple of them over there. You can see that they're really old, but most of this section here is newer stones. I mean, from the 1920s and early, and even 1917, 1916. Got a couple ornate ones there. But these are newer. Now, way back there, if you see it over the hill, That, I walked through there, that's a Jewish cemetery, only for Jewishes who are buried, and they're pretty new. So I don't know what kind of arrangement they had with this church to, you know, have a Jewish cemetery, and it's obviously, you can see it's pretty far kept away from the others. So there's some kind of arrangement going on. Maybe they brought that small plot over there. Anyway, so those are from the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. And then of course over there you have, over here you have a lot of veterans buried over there. Like I said, one thing Johnstown is known for, a couple of things Johnstown is known for. One, a lot of tragedy, because they had, you know, the Johnstown flood, if you ever heard about that. I'm sure you have, everybody has, about where, you know, thousands upon thousands of people died, total families got wiped out, total towns, like where nobody ever survived, you know, and lots of children left parentless, and they didn't know what to do, you know. It was a total tragedy. So Johnstown flood happened, I think, 3 different times, but the first one was the worst, obviously. And then, I mean, it's built in a valley, for God's sake, you know. It's they set up, you can see in the background, you know, all these mountains. Imagine when we get rainstorms, all that water just pouring down these mountain ridges, building up. So we got some people coming through. Anyway, so imagine that, you know how when it rains on your house and you have tons of rain coming into the gutters. Well, that's what basically Johnstown is. So here's a very old one. Can't even tell what it is or what it was. Now here's I think this is, no, it's not the hand clasping. This woman died, Johanne, it looks like Johanne Goligno, I have no idea, it sounds Italian. 1865 she died. And interestingly enough, it says R.I.P., rest in peace. That's actually, you hear, you know, this rest in peace a lot when you're talking about, you know, death and stuff like that, but you rarely see it on a tombstone, and that's the first time I've seen it on a tombstone. So it's kind of weird. So anyway, so here is, again, here, okay, hold on. 1965, this is a family one, so, you know, they brought this a long time ago, this plot, and when a family member dies who are still living here, they get buried here. But then, you know, from 1965, and then you have this, you know, these very old ones, like right next to some of these very newer ones here. It just didn't seem like there was a lot of planning, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe, I guess, when they first came out here, they, you know, this is a big property and people just bought in different sections. Maybe the other sections weren't open yet and they just wanted to fill one spot first, so they wouldn't allow other burials until the one section of land got filled. I don't know. Some very nice ornate ones. And as you can see, a lot of these are falling over. I'm not sure why they don't try to fix them, but I tell you, they do take care of the place. And this is really weird. That was 1999. I'm not gonna go dig in there, that's for sure. But so I'll show you where the oldest one, it's down here a little ways. I'm trying not to walk too fast because that makes the camera do some really bad shaking, and it's kind of an ornate one, 1901. So yeah, so I don't remember if I even finished my thoughts. So Johnstown, Pennsylvania is known for two things. One, a lot of tragedy from the floods and fires and everything else. And two, they're known for their soldiers. Pennsylvania is a, you know, pretty big state, and Johnstown's been here for a long time, so very patriotic state also, I might add. And everybody wants to be in the military here. Like everyone, you talk to any young person, they want to be in the military. So let me find the very old stones. Oh, here's some. There's a really old one. And you see a lot of these type. Let's say father, mother. No dates on them or anything. I'm trying to find the oldest one out here. Like I said, it's from 1809, I think. It's actually 1875. It looks much older. No, I'm sorry. Might be. I can't tell. I see 1875 or 1878, and also I see 1876 or 1826. I can't tell. But very ornate. I haven't found the oldest one. I can't remember where it is. So I might have to make a part 3. And it was a priest. I remember seeing that it was a priest who's buried here, and I think it was the oldest stone, if I remember correctly. So like I said, you got here you have 1972, 1940s, you know, and then you'll have, here's 1952, here's 1920s, early 1900s, 1902, 1918, and it's just such a mix match. It's so weird to see how it's, you know, put together. But anyway, I'm going to, oh, here's something. I'm not trying to move too fast. Oh, that's, looks like that just recently broke off. Yeah. I guess what happens is every once in a while they'll come out here and straighten up the tombstones. 1850, I think they come up and straighten up the tombstones every once in a while. Somebody comes out to do repairs. It's not consistent, you can tell. Anyway, so this mother, father, and Frank. So, like I said, this looks like much newer, but again, it's speckled with very old ones in with all the new ones. So, you know, like I said, I just never seen anything like that. Usually when you go to a gravesite, you see a bunch of stones in the same era. This really does have so many mixtures of dates. 1891. Okay, folks, I'm going to probably have to make a third one when I could find the oldest one. I'm not sure where it is. I've been in here a couple times, but you can really get disoriented here sometimes. I'll look at these really quick. A slumbering. You can see that the information is almost completely gone. Slumbering babies. So this must have been a family. Right there, they're all together. Very ornate ones. Here's another slumbering. Like I said, you would think that this church is still active. Oh, let me show you the church really quick. There's the whole church compound. It's huge. All these buildings that you see here is the whole church compound. So it's a big organization. It's not a small organization. So, but look at this one. This is pretty ornate. $1889. Ackers. Very ornate. And of course, you know, there's, like I said, what struck me though the first time I came out here was the new with the old everywhere, all over the place. So this is why it's a little confusing out here to find, to remember where the oldest stones are. And I think I just found it. Not that one, but it's pretty ornate. I think it's here, if I remember correctly. 1862. And this is right on the corner. Here's 1884. No, I thought this was it. Okay, folks, I might have to do a third one. But still, like I said, pretty ornate stones out here. And you can see this yourself. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, Scalp Avenue. You can't miss it. Can't miss the archway. Until the next time, folks.